Warm, fuzzy, cosmic greetings on a rather rainy day in South Florida, and welcome to the Purple Portal. The Purple Portal is your place and space where you get to expand your consciousness and expand your awareness and become really present to who the heck you are. So I'm delighted to be here with you today, and I am your host, the reluctant mystic, Elaine Bartlett. And this is coming to you from what is underneath the rain clouds, actually sunny Merritt Island in Florida. As a wanderer and a wonderer, I can also share with you that I am probably a world-class contemplator. I contemplate things that people just seem to easily dismiss. And quite honestly, these days, I don't think much should be dismissed that could possibly give you a little pearl of wisdom or insight or awareness. So the object of this show is to bring you thoughts and ideas and insights to those of you who authentically ask. You know, there's a lot of people who ask, and it's kind of meaningless, and they're just kind of flapping their mouths. But there are those of you who are sincere askers, and you really are wanting to find that pearl, which, of course, is the greatest wisdom. And what is that pearl, and where is it? So that's what this is all about. And it's possibly that you're knowing enough that your own personal journey to inner freedom is that which you are seeking. And I certainly endorse that, because it's your inner freedom that allows you to fly once and for all above all restrictions that have been put on you truly from the cradle, and then endorsed and enhanced every step you've taken, whether it be through the peer system, the education system, religious systems, governmental systems. And that's all they are. They're all just systems. But I actually think your programming started almost from day one, almost from the moment you stepped out of the womb. Well, you didn't sort of step out, but you were either pulled, dragged, or came out screaming. So what happens is, here you are, fresh out of Never Never Land, into a land that is filled with restrictions. Don't do this, don't do that. But it starts actually in this respect. People coo and ooh over the cradle, saying things like, "Oh, poor thing, look at that. That little ear is turned the wrong way." Or, "Oh, he or she will be a handsome one or a beauty." So you're kind of marked from day one with you're good or you're not so good. And duality begins. Because the truth is, you're actually neither good nor not so good. The reality of you, the never-changing, ever-steady part of you, is absolutely unchangeable and perfect. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about today. But I really want to remind you that a portal is an opening. It's a secret gateway, in this case, for cosmic information, with the intention of expanding your perspectives and your heart. So if the Spirit moves you today, I encourage you to call in with your thoughts or questions. And the number is 321-806-3159. So that's the call-in line, and I will repeat it. 321-806-3159. You're also very much invited to contact me through my website, or at least visit it. And the website is www.higherconsciousness.com. And the spelling of that is HierConSciouSness. Again, HierConS for Sam, CIOUSNESS.com. The other thing I did this morning was to set up an email address in case you want to reach me very easily through email. So take note. It is Purple Portal 777 at gmail.com. So I encourage you and ask you actually to share this show with your friends and family and coworkers. And the show is actually archived under the Purple Portal in talknetworkradio.com. You can also download the free app, TNR, so that's T for Thomas, N for Nancy, R for Ralph, so that you and others can listen to little slices of light at any time, day or night. And the reason it's important for us to start joining and holding the light together is because the dark night is over. So we each have to do our part to brighten this beautiful world and return it to its original sense of power and authority. And information is power. So when you share information, you actually turn on the lights. So remember who you are as the essence of love and light made visible, and do your part in sharing and connecting. And I want to give a little shout out here today to a couple of people for a couple of reasons. One gal that I'm giving a shout out to is a very old, loyal, trusted friend down in the Boca Raton, Florida area. And her name is Laurel G. Hello, my Laurel. So the shout out to you, my beloved friend, is to tell you that the I am of me is clearly remembering that radiance of you, that reality of you that is 100% whole, complete, and perfect. Now, some of you may wonder, why am I giving someone a shout out like that? Laurel has been going through some health issues, but it's just an appearance. It's not comfortable. It's not pleasant. Doctors would say, wow, this is intense. And I refuse to go down that pathway because I will be just as loyal back to her as she has always been to me. And in that loyalty, I'm remembering the truth of her. And then from that truth, my beloved friend gets to choose what she wants to do, whether she wants to speed up the healing process, whether she wants to drag it out, whether she wants it to disappear instantly, whatever she wants. And it's my job to honor what she wants. So, happiness to you, my friend. Happy, healthy thoughts to you, as ever. Another shout out goes to someone off the planet. Now you're going to think, how can you do that? Well, I can do it very easily because, quite frankly, reality is the same whether the person is in a costume called a human body or out of a costume. So the shout out today goes to my wonderful sister Martha, who seemingly passed away 5 or 6 years ago. But I use that word very lightly because there's no way she's gone anywhere. She keeps showing up at the darndest times, feeding me with healthy information, happy thoughts, and reassuring me that even in the midst of a storm, there is no such thing as death. So, big shout out to her. Keep up with the good work. I am always delighted when you come. And as I told you before you left, I would welcome your visits over and over and over, which indeed I have been doing because they make me smile and they bring me great happiness. So once again, I'm going to give you the way to reach me here to share your own wandering stories and your wonderments and even some of your contemplations. So the number here is 321-806-3159. And just in case you have a radio phobia, you can certainly contact me at purpleportal777@gmail.com. All right, and now on to the cosmic weather report for the upcoming week. We're going to go to the cosmic weather report before I actually do the actual physical human condition weather report. So the cosmic weather report, first in traditional astrology. Presently, we are under the sign of Libra. Now, I want to mention something to you about things like the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 Chinese animal signs. They're actually power aspects of the universal presence. So each one of these signs, they become a portal. And as you would look at it as a portal, you'll extract amazing information that is very applicable. Because some of you might be saying, I hate people born under the sign of Libra. They're wishy-washy, they're indecisive, they can never make up their mind. Or my mother or past lover was a portal and I hated them, so I'm tuning out. Well, tune in, because as a portal of information, here's the opportunity that you have from now right on up until it leaves the sign of Libra around the 21st of this month, and then it will go into the sign of Scorpio. So the opening for you, the secret gateway, is to examine where can you bring in more peace and balance and harmony and unity and justice into your being. Don't worry about who you've not liked because they are that. And don't worry because you're thinking, but I'm not a Libra, so it doesn't apply. It is an aspect of you. Of course it applies. How could you... Well, if it doesn't apply to you, I'll give you that. There's possibility, I guess. But if it doesn't apply, you might be missing kidneys, because it also represents the kidney system, the whole purification system of your body. So you kind of want to recognize this powerful zone of you. It's a cosmic zone, really. And under the sign of Libra, as you examine, where are you out of balance? Who are you no longer in harmony with? And contemplate it. And I'll share with you, Libra has a sweet tooth ordinarily. And that sweet tooth means you would crave sugar. And sugar is one of the greatest things that could easily throw you out of balance, as can alcohol, as can drugs. So the Libra energy can draw easily those things to you, which would throw you physically out of balance. If you're physically out of balance, well, next thing is you're emotionally out of balance. When you're emotionally out of balance, there goes the mental wiring, and you become cross-wired. And then the greatest catastrophe is you actually feel that you are disconnected from source energy. So that's why this month, look at this PowerPoint of Libra. See the scales of inner justice being steadied inside of yourself. Go buy a little scale. Do something that allows you to participate. That's really what I'm saying. Trust me, if you go buy the scales in some little dime store, you're not immediately going to be recalibrated because of that purchase. That's nonsense. Anything outside of yourself is just a little reminder, a little poke. Yes, hold the balance, hold the frequency of justice. And don't be so concerned shaking your fist at any people out there right now that seem to be not holding up the balance scale of justice. Look to you. Don't be throwing stones just yet. Take the plank out of your eye, for heaven's sake. It also has to do with seeing both sides of a situation. And certainly in the United States of America, many people are very challenged to see both sides of a situation. And when you no longer wish to see both sides of a situation, put the entire situation down and simply focus on the real grounded reality within you. That's the core of you. You're not made up of situations or other people's situations. You're not made up of anything that is transitory. Whatever is transitory is not real. So why give it all that much energy? So look at your own sense of impartiality this month. And of course, it's exacerbated for those of you who were born under the sign of Libra. Libra is what we call a cardinal sign. It means it is packed with power. So you that are Libra have, even if you will, a greater responsibility and opportunity to hold those scales of balance in perfect alignment for all of the other 11 signs that are not Libra. Do your real work. Your job also this month is to maintain inner poise and balance. Now that goes to, of course, Libra is the first line of March, those that are Libra. But those of you who aren't, it's your obligation too, to remain poised and balanced. And we have an interesting situation that I'll be touching on in a few moments in Florida right now that any of you east of the Mississippi are at least aware of. We're aware of something called a Hurricane Matthew. And this is demanding that we stay poised and balanced. In the cycle of Libra, you can help restore your balance or others in relationships that have become unbalanced. So it's a restoration time as well. And it's not a pretty thing when you actually own and honor perhaps the delicate scales have been tipped out of balance. That's never a pretty thing, but once you own it, it absolutely helps set the scales back in balance. So on the upside, because you're probably thinking, wow, is there nothing else better to do? Yep, you can certainly enhance beauty. You gals, would you please iron some of your clothing? Throw out things that are just inappropriate for you anymore. Wear some of your jewelry. It's important. I came into the radio station today honoring that. A lot of jewelry. Because it honors beauty. And incidentally, some jewelry actually keeps you balanced. And there'll be shows on that. I want to share that with you. What is the jewelry that can really keep you perfectly balanced? And, well, just so that you're not all crazy until I actually give the show, the one thing that will keep it more balanced than anything is a diamond. So it really is true. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, but esoterically speaking, and isn't it interesting that a diamond is given for an engagement ring? And it's really subliminally to help keep the balance of the love in the relationship. It's also a cycle to honor peace. Now, you can't honor anything that's not first alive and cooking in you. So push your peace buttons, get back to the peace that is very much in there. It would have to be in there because it's encoded in that reality that runs down the center of you. Yesterday, of course, began the cycle in Judaism of a very intense period here. It's a cycle of forgiveness. Yesterday was Rosh Hashanah, their Happy New Year. So happy new beginnings to one and all, because we all feel that frequency. And it goes right on up through Yom Kippur, the saddest cycle. So I never quite understood, because I haven't studied in depth, why they have the sad after the happy new beginning. Someday I'll get that answer. So may this revolutionary cycle where peoples of religion, race, and belief system, harmony and balance are restored for the enrichment of humankind, may this actually be fostered within you so you become a carrier of it. You know, there was a wonderful song a number of years ago, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." Well, I got to take it one step farther. You can't have peace on earth until it begins with you. So it's not a let it, it's do it, become it, be it. Both yesterday and today, now I'm flipping a little bit. So that was all where the sun is. So the sun is in Libra right on through all of the Jewish holidays, which speaks of finding that peace and balance and becoming it. Now, yesterday, the moon moved into Scorpio. So the moon actually moves very quickly. That's why I don't focus on it too much in these talks. The moon moves really about every 2.5 days into the next sign, which is why you feel change so frequently. It's through the lunar energy. But yesterday and today, with the moon in Scorpio, watch your words. They can be way too sharp. They can hurt someone. And they can come right back to bite you and haunt you as the days wear on. So just a little heads up there and caution with watch your mouth. You know, say it with conscious awareness, whatever it is you have to say. And let's see. Along the lines of enhancing beauty under the whole element of Libra, for those listeners who have studied with me over the years, this is your first heads up in the beauty department. Lakshmi comes on October 29th this year. And some of you are thinking, who the heck is Lakshmi and what has it got to do with me? Well, Lakshmi is, first of all, she's a power energy, if you will. She's a nexus or a source of pure, raw access. And what you access through that energy is everything that's beautiful, everything that has any intention of growing and blossoming, for example, a new business. And she is, of course, well known in much of the world, except the United States, for her access to wealth in all aspects. So, well, I'll be talking more about Lakshmi in the next couple of weeks. Mars, at this time, Mars is pushy, and it's challenging in its aspect on tomorrow, actually. And Mars brings a rush of energy, and it could lead you to overspending, overextending yourself, and promising more than you can deliver, and taking fears to a very heightened position. So you want to be careful tomorrow of being overly confident and not using good judgment. And it's also not the day to get all fired up. There's many days this week where you can feel you need to get all fired up about something. In Florida, the people may get all fired up about a potential storm. Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for what would seem like forever. But in this case, what I really want to direct this week is it brings too much force to the table. Too much force could possibly exacerbate the storm coming to we who are in this pocket. Pluto also reminds you might does not make right, ever. So don't be throwing your weight around this week. I don't care if you're a teeny tiny person with a big mouth. Don't do that. It could get you in a lot of hot water. And it's simply a sign of your inflated attachment to your own ego. So let it go. Check your ego at the door from here on, ever. but particularly this week. So this month is also the time for effective communication that can lead to long-term peaceful solutions or healthy solutions. And it's interesting, my wonderful owner of this station, Jeff, was sharing with me today that he spoke to a group of teens earlier in the morning. And something occurred where he could actually see the effect of his good communication and its potential to lead to something long-term with a child that he had touched last week. And today, I actually believe from what he shared that he touched someone else again. And you know, if we sow a seed, who do we believe us to be that we're not understanding that seed may have taken root, and 10 years from now, the young man whose life he touched this morning, that child makes a decision based on a seed that was sown this morning that expands his consciousness and brings more peace to his life. So look to the smallest opportunities to be in a good space for peaceful solutions or uplifting solutions or unifying solutions, whatever you want to call them. It's kind of boils down to all one and the same thing. And it's the fact that open your heart. Let your judgments go. Your judgments and your opinions mean nothing. They're too transitory. And you angst over them and you hang on them and you hurt others with them. I'm like, why? It's not the real you. Let it go. So that's all I'm going to give you about Western astrology. So I'm going to move a bit here to your Chinese astrology because something very interesting happens this week in that sense as well. I love Chinese astrology. I think I might love it even more than Western astrology because I've learned the foibles in Western astrology. And Chinese astrology gives you, I don't know, almost a clearer, maybe a bit broader vision of things, but very clear. So for the last 2 months, actually, we've been in what Chinese know to reckon with as the season of autumn. They really call it the metal cycle. And the metal cycle brings up respiratory illnesses. It brings up overthink. It brings up worry. It brings up grief. It brings up sorrow. But it's a particularly interesting facet because it deals with your lungs and your capacity to breathe and really understand that divine breath, the one breath, is the only breath. And I know now that many, many people suffer from asthma and lung-related diseases. And even allergies have become rampant. Well, some of that, unfortunately, is due to the vaccinations that you've been given along the way, because those have destroyed the immune system in many, many, many cases. So then the fallout, of course, is learning about the sacred breath, and the fallout has to do with perhaps lungs that don't work at full capacity, but they will when you start adjusting the set of your inner sails to remember you're one with divine breath. And this week, we actually step into the 3rd month of this yang metal cycle that we've been in, and we step into what is called Dog Month, the month of the dog, on Friday, October 7th. And it's a pretty powerful cycle in this respect. Every month, not only is it a dog month, someone like me would question, tell me more, tell me more. Well, it's a yang earth dog cycle. And this is very interesting because we're in fire monkey year, yang fire monkey year. So yang fire is actually feeding this earth dog, which brings, number one, the potential for more fires, and number two, land shiftings, for instance, with mudslides and volcanoes and earthquakes. So there's a huge force involved in this, what would seem to be an innocuous day. And it's the reason, well, never mind. You don't need to know the reason. It's a production cycle, and it's very interesting. So during this time of yet for a different reason, transition, would you please examine what in your life should you be transitioning from and to? Take a good look. Again, I'm going to say to you, if you'd like to call in and ask, now's your time. 321-806-3159, 321-806-3159, or for heaven's sake, email me, purpleportal777@gmail.com, because I know some of you are shy. It's okay. I would really suggest during this next month, although I'm probably beating a tired drum here, but in a transition, the third month of every cycle is always a transition month. And it's during transition, there's certainly the opportunity to become a bit more worrisome. And then when you worry, well, many, many people hit the sweets or the starches or the alcohol or the drugs. So just a heads up. If you go to non-duality, in other words, that still space within you, which of course is what everything is really luring you back to, you'll be perfectly fine. So stay right there. If indeed you have some lung issues, I'm first going to say to you, look to clear the sorrow in your life, and look to clear your belief in aloneness or loneliness, and look to clear grief. You know, there's a proper cycle for grief. It's not nearly as long as human beings want to believe it should be. Clean it up. Clean it up now. It's the right time to clean it up. You'll be given like the wings of light to lift you above the grief. And if you're hanging out in grief, you actually have missed the boat on the understanding that it's all okay. So you got to get back to that. And you can rant and rave and tell me the next horror story, and I will tell you, and it is as it should be. Let it be, and move back into joy, because I want you to keep your lungs healthy. All right. Boy, time is flying today. Holy smokes. I'm going to actually stop what I'm doing energetically here as far as, okay, we've got the Western astrology and the Chinese astrology, because where I will be eventually going is to the galactic world. But right now, I'm going to take you into the Earth world, where indeed it does seem as if the appearances are that there is a storm brewing. Well, my contention from a soul point of view is there's always a storm brewing. So I am not about to invest this with a lot of my energy. And as I consciously draw my energy from all of the fear and the pandemonium and the hurry, go here, get this, do that. I stay in the eye of the storm. That's how you stay in the eye of the storm. And that's exactly where you want to be. Now, many people in Florida live very close to the water, myself included. So I'm going to say to you, be very calm and listen to the signals within yourself. I would not be listening to too much outside yourself, because you're going to pick up chaotic thoughts and fear thoughts. And if you remain that still and get in touch with that true reality, that unchanging space within yourself, it will calmly direct you if you should be in another space. And if you're not to be in another space, so be it. As you align with the reality of yourself, you actually see the reality in the storm itself. And as you embrace the storm, you see the tendency is run fast. I'm telling you just the opposite. Love, I'm really about to say love her, although this particular storm has been named a him. Love him. Embrace him. It's here for a reason. Hopefully it's not been man-made. Hopefully Mother Nature is sending this way to cleanse and heal ourselves. You know, a lot of us in South Florida recently, unfortunately, have had to endure spray, poisonous, toxic spray against a made-up enemy called Zika. Well, hopefully this would wash that all away, and maybe that's why it's being sent. And you can hold that intention that it does wash all of that poison away. I don't want that in the food I'm eating. I certainly don't want that in the food my grandchildren are eating. If I take myself out of the equation, it's easy to love the little ones. So I don't know why it's coming. I trust it's coming for a perfect reason. And I embrace that reason. And the more of us that embrace it, the lovelier it will be and the more healing it will be. And, you know, in the human condition, okay, we're going to hear the wind blowing. We're going to see the sand coming, the trees falling over. We may see some of that. But I strongly encourage each and every one of you to print out, if you don't have it already, your copy of the 91st Psalm. There is something in there that's very, very important, but the essence of you has to align with it. And what's in there is, no harm comes near my tent. And I'm going to stand in that. No harm comes near my tent. The problem is, I can't intend that for you. Because frankly, I don't know your karmic obligation with this storm. If this storm's karma and your karma is a match for it to be your time to leave, so be it. You're only putting down your uniform. You haven't gone anywhere. It's kind of like my sister Martha stepping in. She hasn't gone anywhere. She put her uniform down. And I know in the United States, that's a difficult concept because you're taught here to fear death and dying and run from it and sustain life at all costs to the cost of insanity. You know, you have a memory of days and incarnations where we knew enough, as the animals still do, except the ones that have fallen under the hypnotic spell of human beings, to try to save them at all costs, which can be very selfish. Animals know enough to simply go into the forest and lay down and leave their body there. So it happens to be a particularly interesting transformative time that can bring you to a point of stillness, a point of knowingness that, wait a minute, the essence of me is absolutely real. And the essence of me is the exact same essence as the storm. I used to believe in my early studies that, part of my big job was to move that storm off coast. And man, I did that. And at times I thought I did it pretty darn well. Like, the ego was so invested. Single-handedly, I just directed the essence of such and such away. Nope, I've come full circle. I embrace the essence of this because I'm one with it. And I love it. Whether we call it, him, her, doesn't matter to me. So the more you love it, and the more you understand, no harm comes near your tent. That's the work to be done. It's very simple. A lot of heavy-duty responsibility falls off your shoulders. It's pretty cool, pretty magical. And incidentally, about that 91st Psalm, I would tell you, print it out, read through it, and make adjustments that serve you. And I know that's heresy because, oh my God, it's the King James edition or it's the such and such edition. I would tell you 99.9999% of all the editions have been well tampered with to serve ego and to serve humankind in a very corrupt, inappropriate way. So make the adjustments and then rewrite it, print it out, and enjoy it. You know, no deadly pestilence has to come near your tent. So don't embrace it. Don't be too interested in it. Just love it and carry on with your life. That's your job today, is to do you. Your job is to love you. Your job is to play Monopoly with your grandkids. Your job is to mow the lawn if it needs it before it really does rain. My job this morning was do the laundry. I felt like doing the laundry. So lighten up. Lighten up with this stuff. Lighten up means become the light that you really actually are. And I know that's such a new concept for some of you, and it's so terrifying, and it's so anti-religion. And yet, you are it. You're the religion. Give up the other stuff. I do, for your purposes to know, I do actually keep a copy of the 91st Psalm 2 places. I keep one in my luggage for when I travel, so that no harm comes near that tent. And I actually keep one in my glove compartment. Oh, there you have it. I keep a lot of fun stuff in my glove compartment. I keep crystals in my glove compartment. I keep this I love about me, I keep a mezuzah in my glove compartment, and most of you are going, what the heck is that? I had to figure it out. But it's got a little sacred scroll in it that kind of probably, if I knew how to read Hebrew, it's probably like a further edition of the 91st Psalm, reminding me, I am safe. The I am of me is perfectly safe. Because it's divine. How could it not be safe? Okay, so now, all your questions are just pouring in here. One more time, so that they possibly could pour in. 321-806-3159. And I am Elaine. I am Elaine Bartlett. And this is the Purple Portal that you are listening to. And of course, to remind you, a portal is an opening to higher consciousness. And all I can do is open the door on it. It's yours to step across. It's yours to enter. In the old days, I used to think, I have to just pull you a little bit. I have to push you. I have to pull you. Nope. I'm just holding the door open. It's all yours. And that means I've actually elevated you to a better step of consciousness within myself. I actually believe you can. And I trust that in time you will. It's yours to do. So it's such a relief that I could let that go, that I don't have to push you, I don't have to pull you, I don't have to cajole you, I don't have to whine, jump up and down. It's a much better world. So galactically, all right, so we've hit Western astrology, we hit Chinese astrology, and now I'm going to take you up a little higher. Galactically, you're in the 3rd month of the galactic calendar, because that actually started late July. And this month is known as something called the electric deer, like a deer in the forest, moon of service. And this galactic month, you can see now, months have different starting points. The most ludicrous of the month starting points is our own Gregorian calendar, because that relates to nothing, and that was all ego designed. So, that one's my bane of existence. So this particular month started September 20th, and it actually runs on through October 17th. And here's your opportunity to activate your service, your sense of service, because you're actually entering more fully into a greater stage of planetary intelligence. That's what's coming about galactically, that our spirit is expanding, and it's expanding whether you like it or not. You just happen to be in that time zone of expansion now. For thousands of years, you've been in contraction, and partially, because it's such a new experience, this expansion, it actually feels uncomfortable And it's kind of hard to identify, well, where do we go from here? But the first step is just actually accept your sense of expansion into planetary intelligence. Imagine if you could wrap your head around planetary intelligence, that means you can begin to really fully, properly embrace the sense of extraterrestrial activity and connect with them. They are your big brothers and sisters. The other day, a lovely gal came to me for a personal consultation, and I really made the determination after speaking with her that she would be ready for, if she wished to go into it, the next stage of communing with different entities. Oh, and she just lit up like, oh, it was a lovely thing. And I suggested 2 things to her, and I'll suggest them to you. Those of you who are ripe and ready, you'll hear this and do something about it. And those of you who aren't there just yet, but that's okay. These tapes are archived. We like that. So one of the things I first suggested to her was information on the Hathors. These are just elder brothers and sisters. They are not frightening. And the Hathors, Hathors, Google information about them. See if you're drawn to them. They are really cool. You know, all of these older brothers and sisters that come and try to commune with us, their IQ begins at 400. So, and they've long since understood the fallacy and the insanity of duality and lack of unity, and which of course only leads to war. So that's not on their agenda. They're not here to war with us, but they are here to help us commune better and help us with things like free energy. What a concept. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Because mostly those who tried to bring it forth, well, they've sort of been taken out because it's too much of a threat to the energy people and the oil people. But nonetheless, your big brothers and sisters are trying valiantly to bring this information through and other informations as well, so that you can live a more illumined life with a greater and deeper and more intense connection with source energy. So as you activate this sense of planetary intelligence, you actually make adjustments in your own consciousness. And it's pretty darn cool. I can see here we're getting low on time. All right. Each individual is being summoned by their higher self. That means you are being summoned by your higher self. Pure, radiant consciousness. And what are you being summoned to? To reclaim your personal sovereignty. This is the revolution that's about to happen. This is the revolution you've been waiting for. It's not necessarily a revolution where there's man against man, child against child, person against person. This is the revolution of consciousness. It's huge. But you can only get there individually by going within to that pure, radiant spot and focusing on it. Focusing on just the pure awareness. Give up your addiction to the nonsense that's going on. It's just an addiction. It's neither right nor wrong, but it is kind of slowing you down from things that I really do know. Not only do you want, it's time for that. It's time for a wonderful revolution. And if you're the way shower in your little tribe, what a great thing. I can't guarantee that you're going to be liked or appreciated or even understood at first. And yes, you may be ridiculed and rejected. However, it's a really wonderful thing to be on the leading edge. I implore you to be on the leading edge. Why not? Once you're on the leading edge, you will jump off into pure bliss, and that's where you and I will meet. Loving you. Bye.